Hello, everyone. Firstly, thank you so much for logging on to this particular webinar. Yes, this is Alex and Jess, and today our presentation is all about how you too can harness the power of TV. But a question you might be asking yourself is, why should I care about this particular presentation, particularly in this whole seminar about the future of video? Well, Jess and I genuinely do believe that if you two harness the power of TV, it will have the following three benefits to your next research project. Firstly, it will ensure insights reach the very top of the organization that you're working for. Secondly, it will enable your research findings to live long after the final debrief and even be used as a tool to educate those both internally, but also externally as well. And thirdly, it will allow you to create a project that people genuinely want to be part of. That's stakeholders and participants as well. And the best thing about our presentation is we're going to tell you how to do this amazing thing in a cost-effective way. So how are we going to tell you how to harness the power of TV? Well, essentially, there's 5 different steps to the process. Step 1 is a very quick introduction to the concept of Our House. Step 2 is why we felt a TV show format was so applicable to our clients' needs. Step 3 is all about the processes you need to follow to essentially get client buy-in. Step 4 is all about finding the right types of people. And the last step is all about how you produce your own very own TV show. So, step 1, what is Our House? Well, before we explain exactly what Our House is all about, let me first explain exactly who is Asda. Asda is the UK's 3rd largest supermarket and employs 160,000 people. And within the UK, it has over 150 stores, and it's part of the Walmart family of group companies. Our House is essentially Asda's very own TV show, and has been running for the last 2 years. And the sole objective of this TV show is essentially bring to life their core customer group. Over the last 2 years, the show has been watched by a staggering 3,000 Asda store managers and suppliers, as well as being viewed by over 1,000 Asda marketeers. And over 2 years, we created 10 different shows, and we distilled the following bits of information. Jess and I have had the pleasure of hanging out for 1,000 hours with their target customer. We've captured an incredible 250 hours of footage, and that all translates to a staggering 4 terabytes of data. And we've used the following qualitative inputs to generate all this information: 15 in-home interviews, 3 cook-alongs, 15 shop-alongs, 6 come-down events, as well as a whole host of self-shot tasks. So step 2, why did we believe a TV show format was so applicable to our clients' needs? Well, we felt a TV show format would work not only for our client, but also ourselves as an industry at large, because we face some critical challenges when looking to deliver insight back to key stakeholders, particularly when thinking about very large organizations. The first challenge we all face is, how do you actually build genuine customer empathy? By dragging all our stakeholders to every single interview that we did, it's very hard for them to understand how a customer thinks, feels, and behaves. Also, Jess and I do question whether a PowerPoint presentation or a keynote speech really is powerful enough to deliver these emotions. That's why in the end, we selected video. I think we can all agree video is probably one of the most powerful tools in enabling stakeholders to understand how their customers feel. The second challenge we all face is the idea of time-poor C-suite. Essentially, those at the very top of the organization just don't have enough time on their hands. This kind of creates a unique challenge in itself. How do you develop something which enables you to deliver all your key insights, but do it in a very short form? Well, this was a particular challenge for myself and Jess. In the end, we opted to create all our episodes with a runtime of 5 minutes. The reason why we selected 5 minutes is we felt that it was just enough time for us to actually convey everything we wanted to tell within the episode, but also critically, it was just enough time before our key stakeholder would ultimately switch off. The last challenge we all face is the idea of just longitudinal studies. We've all been there. Come report 8 or 9, typically your client begins to kind of switch off. And that's essentially because they get desensitized to the kind of delivery mechanism of a PowerPoint presentation. So what me and Jess did is essentially for every single show, we mixed the format up. We always made sure that our client was second guessing what we were looking to do. In addition, what we look to do is create a very strong narrative from one show to the other. And this essentially turned our house into its very own appointment to view.
So, step 3, getting client buy-in. There were several ingredients me and Alex realised that were needed to foster true client buy-in for our project. The first ingredient was building a compelling project branding. At Northstar, we've been branding our research projects for a number of years now to great effect. It's worked time and time again to elevate a project beyond that of research. This is why we decided not only to brand this project as does Customer Listening Programme 2017, which was its official internal name. Instead, we called it Our House, as its very own TV show. But why? First, it gives the project a stronger identity, which not only inspires people, but also allows your project to get immediate cut through within an organisation. For example, when people in ASDA say Our House, they automatically know what the project is and what the findings have been in us so far. Ownership, it fosters a stronger sense of ownership for the client. This means that insights that are uncovered are much more likely to be actioned internally. And lastly, while this might sound a little bit shallow, it sounds cool. The knock-on effect of this is that it generates excitement in the organisation and creates fame around the project for our client. And who doesn't want to make their client look good? But how? How do we go about creating Our House project name and branding? It's the coming together of these following factors. The overall look and feel of the logo strongly links back to ASDA's current look and feel. The target we were tasked to follow for the last year are all families. At the core of any good family is a safe home, i.e. a house. And much of the filming we were doing was essentially house-based, whether this was going to their house or for them to come to our house for our bespoke research events. Second ingredient, enabling moments of real client collaboration throughout. We wanted our clients to feel truly part of the process every step of the way and really feel that they were able to add value. So across the year, our key client was intimately involved in each of the following key touch points. Recruitment, they're involved in selecting the right people to take part. The research events, they helped set them up and they were part of them as well, to the extent that one of our clients, when they came to a Halloween themed event, they actually came up dressed as a witch. The voiceover artist, they were intimately involved in hand selecting who would be the voice of our house. The production team, we invited them into meetings with the cameraman and editor, and we worked them to write the narrative each episode. And finally, they took a really key part in the production process. As you can see, we were lucky. We had a client who was very willing to get involved, but the real reason they're willing to get so involved is that they had completely bought into the project itself. And finally, ingredient 3, rebranding key touch points. We believe that the language you choose to describe a project defines it going forward. We went out of our way to redefine and rebrand everything we did in regards to this project. And the reason why is we really feel it truly elevates the project to another level. Beyond that, of research to a piece of powerful internal communications. So, for example, our respondents became the stars of our house and our target customer videos became episodes.
So, Jess has given an overview of essentially how you go through getting client buy-in. But step 4, how exactly do you find the right types of people? As you're probably well aware, a smash hit TV show lives and dies by having people you either love or absolutely hate to watch. So to kind of get to that point, Northstar had to reinvent the recruitment process from the ground up. What we looked to do is, as producers, we went into each one of our 3 critical cities, London, Manchester and Glasgow. We then spent 2 solid days hanging outside supermarkets, as well as going into the city centre to essentially begin the process to find the stars of the show. Once we recruited people, we got them to submit what we call a pitch video. And essentially in that self-shot video, they had to sell the whole household to say why they should be selected to take part in the show. Step 3 is what we call the casting couch process. This is essentially a 45-minute extended interview, which was recorded with some of the best candidates who had submitted videos in step 2. Then the final step is creating a show reel for London, Manchester, or Glasgow of all the best households. And then we worked with the client to select the very best 9 households to be part of our project, Our House. So that's an overview of how we found our stars. But part of the challenge we faced with a project like Our House is, maintaining these people's interest. It's now been running consecutively for 15 months. We've got 2 critical touch points. Our first touch point is what we call Our Space, which is a private Facebook group. Now, the beauty of private Facebook groups is ultimately, you don't have to tell someone to download Facebook. They've already got it. You don't have to spend months telling them how to actually use it. And the other thing is they habitually check it all the time. You don't have to even remind them to actually log on. But the other successful touch point was the idea of the little touches. And this is kind of classic behavioral economics. What we found is sending birthday cards, sending them summer cards, even sending them Christmas cards, as you can see in this picture, is a really great way of actually getting strong loyalty to a project.
So step 5, probably the step you've all been waiting for. How do you actually produce a TV show? As you can imagine, to produce a great TV show, we had to learn from the best, i.e. those who create TV shows day in, day out. And that's exactly what we did. We spent a lot of time, myself and Alex, learning the craft of how to produce the perfect TV show. But we also collaborated with those who worked in the business itself. They gave us an insider's guide on how to do things properly. Then we took these learnings and made them fit for purpose for Our House and the objectives of a research study. So one of the first things we learned, scheduling is absolutely crucial. A key challenge we faced is whilst we wanted to film all of our stars at once throughout the year, we just simply didn't have the budget to do that. Our real challenge was we have 9 different households, multiple members of the family within that. Asda also wanted us to cover off all the important events for them. So Easter, Halloween, the build up to Christmas and the big day itself. And we had to do this all within an absolutely limited budget. There's no shortcut to doing this. It requires detailed planning. What we look to do is stagger our research events throughout the year to ensure we did cover off some of those the majority of those key events. We also ensured that at every research event, we spoke about all of these moments at once. So, for example, when we were filming and talking to our stars in summer, we were talking to them about back to school. We were talking to them about summer food, but also conversely, comparing it to winter food as well. So we could cover off all of these different moments at once. Another important thing is a need for a variety of locations. We were very conscious of avoiding what we call the death of a talking head. You've definitely seen it. It's a participant sat on their sofa talking away, nothing else going on in the background. It doesn't make very engaging footage. So we spent a lot of time thinking about all the different types of locations we could shoot at. This is why we shot at nearly 15 different locations throughout our 3 cities. So for example, in home, in their kitchens, in their local neighbourhood, in store, and also at hired houses when we brought them to our bespoke research events. And also, there was a real need for a variety of locations in terms of the shoots. We worked with our cameraman and our client to develop new ways to shoot interesting and exciting footage. In the season, we had footage that came from the GoPros, digital SLRs, drones, and also the respondents' smartphones. We also included a real detailed list of B-roll shots as well. So stuff from the local city, their locality, and also artifacts and food and drinks and things like that, which are important to them. This really adds another level of dynamism to each episode.
So Jed's giving you a really good overview of how we went about capturing this wonderful footage. But now let me quickly explain how we go about the processes of creating an episode. Firstly, we had to agree a central theme with our client. Once they'd actually signed off that theme, Jess and I spent days brainstorming all the different ideas that supported that key theme. That information was then written up into what we call a scope of work, which is essentially a creative brief, which was signed off by a client. And once they signed that off, we went through the very laborious process of isolating all the clips we felt would bring the show to life. The last step of the process is going into the production mode. There's 2 different steps. Firstly, the creation of what we call a rough cut. This is an extended version of the episode with a runtime of around 8 minutes. And the client reviewed this in 3 different ways. Firstly, they had to tell us about the stuff they love, highlight the stuff they hated, but also explain what they wanted more of. We then moved into the process of creating the final cut. This is reducing the episode from 8 to 5 minutes, layering over the voiceover, and beginning the process of color and audio correction. So to summarize, what are our top tips? Firstly, build a strong and compelling project brand. Step 2, enable client collaboration right throughout the project. Step 3 is all about finding your stars of the show. And step 4, follow our production process, the 5 different steps. And we believe if you follow all that, you too can have a successful TV show. Thank you very much. So we can invite you some questions, please.